Yeah.
We gon' run it, hit the field, blast off, watch 'em all fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Ay, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Ay, AFC North talk.
All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome into the latest edition of AFC North Talk. Jarrett, Sonny, Ace with you guys. Q should be in here soon. Obviously, the big news, I shouldn't say news, but the big matchup this week, Steelers-Ravens for the AFC North. Winner will host a playoff game. The loser will go home. That will be, kind of our big talking point today, as well as what's going to happen with Cincinnati and Cleveland regarding their head coaches. So we'll dive into all of that today. Boys, hope you had a good Christmas and a good New Year. I think that my unpopular opinion is that New Year's is completely overrated, and I didn't do anything.
You went to sleep early?
Early is a stretch. Like, my best friend is home from Denver, so like I saw him, but like no, I didn't partake in any sort of like New Year's parties or anything like that. I just don't see the I don't go crazy for New Year's.
Nah,
I go crazy for Christmas.
For me, it was watching the Stranger Things finale.
I just saw it.
The Buckeyes and the U go at it, because I was like, I know somebody from the Bengals, a future Bengal, might be playing in this game.
That's a good point.
For me, it was trying to catch up on some of that. And for those who do watch Stranger Things, I don't know why people were getting so upset on Twitter. I thought it was a good ending for the show. Don't want to give any spoilers or anything like that, but I thought it was a pretty good ending, especially in comparison to ones like Game of Thrones and some of the awful ones that I've seen out there before. So I thought it was pretty good.
I must be the only person who doesn't watch that show.
I would say this.
Huge. It was like one of the first original Netflix originals. So
I've seen the first 4 seasons and it just didn't resonate with me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think the last season was like first 4 episodes, Ace. They were amazing. And this 5, 6, 7, they got lost me a little bit. There were too much talking and bullshit. And then the ending, I agree with you, was great. I thought it was well done.
I think I'm also just very like counterculture, where like if something's like super duper popular, I'm probably not gonna watch it. I've never seen Breaking Bad. I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Oh no, you're tripping, bro. You gotta see Breaking Bad. You gotta see Breaking. You would like Breaking Bad too.
I feel like here's the thing. I think I would like Breaking Bad, because I like Bryan Cranston a lot, and so I'm sure that I would enjoy Breaking Bad.
That's his most famous role, bro.
Yeah. Like everything that Bryan Cranston does is usually really good. I just Game of Thrones, I'm not gonna watch. Like that's just too much. I'm probably not gonna. I'm gonna sit that one out. So anything that's usually super popular, I usually just But Breaking Bad might be the one that I have to get into.
You gotta check out.
Breaking Bad. So boys, I know I haven't been here, and thank you for holding the fort. I've been in Puerto Rico here. I'm flying tomorrow. I would say, quick recap here. The Ravens, King Henry was unstoppable over there in Green Bay. Malik Willis did his thing. He might be looking for a new contract next year.
He's a free agent, so he'll get some team will sign him. Maybe the Steelers. That'd be okay. Yeah, I think maybe. I think there's a greater than 0 chance. I wouldn't hate that at all.
And then the other thing, the Bengals game, Ace, it was whatever. You guys won. It's good for. I don't know if it's good for you, but it's good for Zach Taylor.
Like let's win. Let's go undefeated in games that don't matter. So. It was.
But then the matchup here, Jared, because I watched the whole game, I was like in the edge of my seat. Browns, Steelers, dude, and I'm watching this game in awe. I don't know about y'all, because the Browns were also missing starters. Shador played other than that first drive where he scored a touchdown, he was in my opinion, god awful.
Yeah, it was
Like
good.
that one pick, one of his picks that the one that Sanders that does like this, right? That he puts his head down.
Yeah, he
I
threw
don't know
a
what he
hot
was
air
doing.
balloon in the air. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was crazy.
and if it was like a deep pass, like a 50, 60 yards, and you throw that, it's like a 15, 20 yard floater. Yeah, I'm like,
Mhm.
what happened here? Like anybody could have picked that ball. To be fair to him, Judy didn't even try to fight for the ball. Judy was like, "Oh, if this guy's gonna be in front of me, it is what it is." I was like, "Judy, come
Mm.
on, bro. You couldn't offensively PI. He could have done a bunch of stuff." He's like, "Nah, take it." But yeah, I'm very curious because I haven't been on Twitter that much either. I'm very curious to see what was your thoughts on that game because I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked.
It was just disappointed but not surprised. And a stat came out after the game. In their last 5 games against teams with that are 8 or more games under 500, the Steelers are 0-4-1. They just can't beat horrible for whatever
Ooh.
reason. Yeah, they're so bad against bad teams, and that comes down to preparation. That comes down to coaching and getting everything ready. And decision making from Aaron also wasn't great in this game. There was a fourth.
MBS, MBS, MBS,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
MBS.
especially at the end of the game for sure. But even they after the Jack Sawyer interception, they get the ball down to it was basically the red zone. It was on the 22. It's 4th and 1, and they draw up a pretty good play. It's a man beater. Adam Thielen's wide open underneath, easy first down. He throws a go ball to Scotty Miller that's 5 yards in front of him in the end zone. The stuff with
Mhm.
MVS at the end was horrible. It wasn't a great Aaron game. Defensively, they started off slow. But for 3 quarters, they were perfectly fine, didn't allow a point.
Mhm.
The offense just sucked. So, yeah, in a situation where they could have, beaten a bad team, wrapped up the AFC North, maybe rested some guys this week. Now it's, a win or go home game where it shouldn't have been.
Do you think the problem was the Miles Garrett thing that he was so concerned with Miles Garrett getting the sack?
No, I think that the lack of running the ball hurt them a lot. If they would have ran the ball as much as they threw the ball 40 times for no reason. They were averaging over 5 yards a carry. They only ran the ball 24 times. So if they would have just ran the ball a ton, I think they win. Yeah, everybody can, play the blame game with DK and whatnot. And yeah, like DK, what he did was stupid and he shouldn't have done it. But at the same time, score more than 6 points against the Browns, I'm not going to sit here and completely just crap on DK when the entire offense was non-existent and the game plan itself wasn't very good, where you're facing a Browns team that the week before they showed, hey, if you got a good ground attack, you can take advantage of a bad, like the Browns haven't had a great run defense. And the Steelers, like when they ran the ball, they ran it well. They just didn't run it enough. So I thought the game plan was bad. I thought the coaching all around was bad. This is just who they are, man. They overperform usually against teams that they are not as good as. They severely underperform against teams that they should beat handedly. And
do you think it was any truth to they were playing a certain game plan because they didn't want Miles Garrett to get the sack record more than they wanted to win the game? Is there any truth to that?
No, I don't think
I've heard
so.
that a lot from Browns fans. I just wanted to know, like, from a Steelers fan perspective or Steelers analyst perspective, was that how you felt as well, or was it just like we just came out and played bad?
No, if they wanted to, I mean, I'm sure they obviously didn't want to give up any sacks to Miles, but that just comes with also wanting to win the game.
Right.
If they, I mean, a good way to prevent that from happening is running the ball more. So I think that if they would have just done that, that would have been a perfect way to keep Miles from getting opportunities to get the sack record. When you drop back 39 times, or however
That
many
doesn't
times it was.
scream like we're trying to,
Right.
If you guys would have handed the ball off like 20, 30 times, then it would have been like, hey, these guys are trying to make sure this guy doesn't get the record. But if you're dropping back 40, because that's like a Zach Taylor game, but if you're dropping back 40 times, it doesn't seem like you're really worried about someone getting a sack or anything. Like,
No.
you know that's going to come with the territory with passing the ball at that clip.
Yeah, so if they would have ran the ball more, I think they would have won. I think the game plan was bad, but I don't think it was bad because they were, more worried about Myles Garrett than winning the game. I just think the game plan was bad. And yeah, now here we are. Now they got to win or their season's over. And, shouldn't be in the situation regardless. We talked about it plenty of times throughout this year where, if they somehow blow this gift of a season where the Ravens are 1-5. They're sitting at 4-1 at one point. And lo and behold, don't worry, they found a way to blow it. So that's just who they are, man. They're not a horrible team, but they're not a good team either. And that's just the purgatory they've been trapped in, and the purgatory they're going to continue to be trapped in my opinion, as long as Mike Tomlin is head coach. And look, I do, Todd Haley's my new co-host over at Believe in Steelers, and he doesn't agree with me on that, and that's fine. Him and I had a good conversation about it on the last show, sharing perspectives and whatnot. And there's always going to be people who see the other side of it and say that, it's not necessarily a Mike Tomlin problem. It's a grander issue of roster construction and whatnot. But
he was on Tomlin's staff, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So I mean, I think there's always going to be a crowd of people who are in the Tomlin camp and on team keep Tomlin. But
Team Tomlin, sure.
Yeah, that ship has sailed for me, man. I want something new. I want a progressive, like, offensive minded head coach, and change can be scary. I get that. And the guy who they hire might not be good right away. I gave the example of the Patriots where they moved on from Bill Belichick, who has more Super Bowls than everybody, and is the greatest coach of all time. They moved on from him, and they swung and missed with Gerard Mayo. But, they got Drake May, and then they hired Mike Vrabel. And would you look at that, they're right back to being one of the best teams in football. So even if the guy that they hire right away in this hypothetical where they do move on from Mike Tomlin isn't the guy, take another swing. Eventually you'll hit and find the right guy. If you get the right quarterback, then everything's fine. But you got to be willing to take chances, take big chances, rather than just, being scared of what the result could be and let that keep you from making those changes.
Are they one of the teams where it's a situation where they don't want to pay for more than one head coach at a time? Like, is it a situation like that where, like, if they did sign a guy, let's just say next year, and he's got a 3-year deal, let's just say 3-year deal, 2 years with a second option, is it a situation where they'd fire him after that first year if he's bad? Or is it like a situation where they let him play out the 3, then now that they have a fresh slate to spend on coaching, they're just going to go in another direction?
I mean, true. I'm not going to pretend to know what goes on in Art Rooney's mind. I know that cash wise, like, he's one of the more poor owners in the NFL. Yeah. And obviously that's, relative to all the other owners. He's still a billionaire, but,
right.
Compared to everybody else, I think he's like 30 or 31 when it comes to the owners rankings of money. So, I mean, maybe, but at the same time, man, I don't want to hear, preaching about, oh yeah, we're dedicated to winning, we want to end the playoff drought, and then not be willing to make the changes necessary to get it done. So it's empty words until, like, big changes are made, especially if they either lose this weekend or even if they do get into the postseason. And it's what we've seen for the past, 5 years, where it's not a close game and they just get handedly beat.
It's funny because even though we're different franchises, him and Mike Brown are very similar. I've seen articles about it. They have, like, the same ideologies. They're like they're not, like, quick to change their horses midstream type of guy. It's that old school, like, mentality and thought process. So it'd be interesting to see, like, because we're in the same situation too. And there's a lot of people saying, oh, they're not going to move on from Taylor because he got 2 years on his contract. They don't want to have to pay for multiple and I'm just like, dog. Like, I don't care about none of that. I don't care about any of that. And from a billionaire's perspective, you got to think, like, is keeping this guy in that extra $6 million or whatever it is, that $6 million in dead money, is that worth, like, people not showing up to your stadium? Because that's
what it's going to take, isn't it?
Your bottom line more. So then, like, I don't know, but
the question is that will people stop going to the stadium, right? Now,
I don't know if people stop going to the Steelers games, because Steelers have some diehard, like, fans that
stadium's always full.
But I wouldn't think people will go away from the Bengals, Ace, because as soon as let's say Zach Taylor stays, and they won opening day, you had Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, you all be excited.
We'll hit him in the pockets, bro. Like, if it's a situation where, because even if you look at the last game, there wasn't many people at that Cardinals, man. Now I get it.
That's over. Yeah.
But I think if they were to do that, Bengals fans do say, like, we're not going to the games. Like, we have done that to them before. Like, even, like, I'd even say, like, the start of the AJ Green and Andy Dalton era, people don't remember it. There was a lot of people not going to those games. I think even like in the Joe Burrow era, the rookie year, like if you build it, they will come and all of that. Like there were people not going to the game. So to me, I think like it depends on what they do this offseason. I'm not saying that they have to fire Zach Taylor for people to like not come to the games, but
maybe Duke.
It has to be something. It has to be some kind of change. Like, let's say, like, worst case scenario for me, they keep Duke, they keep Zach, but they go out and they actually spend in free agency and they do some of the stuff that they haven't done. Then people will probably show up. But if they keep Zach Taylor and Duke and they do the same thing where they have this mid free agent class, just like they did this past offseason, no, they are not. They are not showing up, bro.
So the one thing that concerns me, because as another guy that has talked about Fire Harbor, right? Like I think everybody in the AFC this year has talked about
firing their coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the only thing that concerns me, because y'all know who I would like, right? B-Flow. But I also think if not B-Flow, who? Usually there's a list of people you're like, oh, this coordinator, this other coordinator. I have no idea. As a guy that would have liked for them to change Harbaugh, that I don't know if they're gonna change it. I don't know who's out there. Do you get Saleh another chance? Like I had no idea. Who is this coordinator? Who is this ex-coach right now?
I think Saleh would be actually an okay hire because Saleh's a good hire if you just need to fix the defense, you have a quarterback in place, and you just need somebody to steady the ship defensively, give the keys offensively to somebody else.
Yeah, for us, I think B-Flow or Saleh would be fine.
Yeah. I think, but if like you're trying to rebuild, I don't think Saleh's your guy.
Yeah, but yes, I agree. My point is this year there were gonna be some coaching carousel happening like every year, but I don't think there's the coordinators out there for it to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few names that are, you know, Flores, Saleh, Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator. Josh Grizzard, the Bucks offensive coordinator, was a big name, but over the past, you know, the Bucks have had a bad couple months, so I think his name's kind of fallen down a little bit. Same thing with Joe Brady in Buffalo. I think that head coaching thing for him has sailed, at least for now. He's just the offense hasn't looked good.
I heard it wasn't a good year for Joe Brady, because I was definitely looking at the Joe Brady situation with the previous ties to Burrow, Chase, and everybody's like, nah, Joe Brady.
Yeah, that's not to say that it couldn't happen, but I'd be surprised if he got a head coaching job this cycle.
There's another guy with the Chargers, I think defensive coordinator out there.
Jesse Minter.
Yeah, Jesse Minter. I actually have. Let me see if I can find it. I had to put together some head coaching candidate list out there.
I mean, even if like certain guys get fired, like if Stefanski becomes available, I mean, he's not going to be on the market.
Stefanski will be exactly because this is the year who is out there.
Yeah, so or like Mike McDaniel in Miami maybe too. So like there's a few guys who could just go from head coaching job to a different.
No, I don't think McDaniels.
Some of the names are Saleh, which you guys already mentioned. Mike McCarthy's still out there. So
Mike McCarthy's still out there. That's true.
Possibly come back. We talked about Joe Brady. Spagnuolo, I think, is an interesting one.
I think he's staying in Kansas City, man. He's in his 70s. I don't think he's taking a head coaching job. No, I think he's staying in Kansas City.
He deserves one, man. I think like Spags, in my opinion, I think he deserves one.
I've seen Steve Spagnuolo head coach before, and I think he's just cool with being a D coordinator. I think he went 1-15 with the Rams. He was the head coach when they went 1-15 or 2-14.
Oh, yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah,
that's nasty. Todd Monken, is he gonna be?
I wonder if they would just promote him to head coach if they moved on from Harbaugh.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, if you guys moved on from Harbaugh, would you take Monken as the head coach?
Because he would get a job instantly somewhere else too.
Yes, the problem is, no, I wouldn't. I don't know why I wouldn't.
Because he's offensive minded. You want a defensive guy because that's what the Ravens' culture has been.
No, not necessarily. Look, like if a Ben Johnson type of guy would have been there, I would have been like, hire him, right? This is not. Yeah. I'm more. I guess I am used to this. I think it's the best type of coach. Not necessarily has always worked, but like Harbaugh as a leader, man, or whatever. I like that type of coach that you can have a good coordinator and let them coordinate. I detest seeing a coach that used to be a coordinator and they cannot let them job go. Like you need to manage. You need to
just be the head coach, not still the offensive coordinator, Zach Taylor.
Like Vrabel, I think that's what Vrabel does.
NFL offensive coordinator. So as soon as he became head coach, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to call the plays," and I'm like, "Dude, you haven't even done that. Like, what are we doing?"
So before we go to the next game,
Hold on. I got one last one.
Oh,
But
you have
it's
one.
probably
Okay.
not going to happen because he's already talking about he's going back, and I think you would have to pay a lot of money to get him.
Was it
Marcus Freeman from
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think he's staying
I
put.
like him a
Yeah, he's
lot.
staying put.
I
He
do like him a
just came
lot.
out like I think 2 days ago, said that he's staying put. The only way you could get him out of there is if you got to come with that role.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could pay him out of there maybe, but it would have to be a big bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say before we go and talk about Steelers Ravens, we have a couple super chats, Ace. If
Oh
you wanna,
yeah. Let's get
you wanna
those up.
clear
Let's
that.
go ahead and get to those real quick.
All right. Vodagard says, "Glad to see you boys back, Sonny. Man, why all these trade rumors seem to want Lamar to go to Minnesota? Either way, this should have been a fun off season after our Super Bowl. Just probably lose versus Denver in the AFC conference. I mean, if they get to the conference championship after the start, that's still a pretty successful season for Baltimore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually think if they make the playoffs, they don't fire Harbaugh. If they don't make
I
the
agree.
playoff, there's a chance. But if they make it, Harbaugh will say, "Look, we struggle. I was able to lead the team back, or whatever bullshit he would have." I don't think he gets an extension or anything. I think he's gonna get a 3-year extension from last year. So the rumors are stupid, in my opinion. Lamar, I was hearing just before our stream, Lamar talking. Lamar was like, I don't know with all this rumor, and Lamar looks happy. Like before the contract extension last time, Lamar wasn't even coming to the games. Lamar was there in Green Bay in the effing cold. He didn't have to be there because he's injured, right? He could have been like, nah, I'm just gonna pack. I ain't even gonna travel. No, he was there with the team. It doesn't look like it. It was just a columnist that said, look, the Ravens would like to extend Lamar. Lamar is difficult to extend because he doesn't have an agent. This is the premises. Lamar has no agent. It is hard to extend him. So maybe he's becoming more of a headache. Maybe the Ravens will want to move on. That's essentially the premise. And there's all these teams that don't have a quarterback and have so many draft picks. Will the Ravens do it? That's essentially the gist of all of this. It has no legs. Lamar has never even sat no offense to the Bengals right now, but Joe Burrow went dark for a couple weeks out there. Lamar hasn't even shown none of that, right? Not even us losing or anything. So it was weird. It was just this columnist said it, and it just
But
got so
he
much
was saying
legs.
stuff though like Lamar's falling asleep in meetings. That's not something that
Yeah,
you
so
can
so they
just.
asked him. So they asked him today, which good for the reporter. He said, which every time they show the wire or whatever, he is in the first row. He said, I'm in the first row. Do you think Harps will let me fall asleep? Hell no, man. I don't. I think it was just a columnist that put an opinion there, inflammatory hit, and it got legs. The dude got all the clicks. So
I'll play devil's advocate and say he's not gonna go publicly and say, "Yep, I want out." Like it doesn't matter who asked it or what's asked. Like he's not gonna
He's not gonna say, "Yeah, I was falling
Yeah,
asleep in
exactly.
meetings."
Yeah.
no,
So
but my point is more demeanor wise. Like I said, when the contract extension was not happening, his demeanor was like he almost looked like he was kind of checked out, right? And like I said, he didn't have to be in the game in Green Bay because he's injured. When you're injured, you don't have to be there. You can if you want to. He was there. He was ready for Snoop. He looked like he was ready with his boys. Marlon Humphrey does a stupid IG at the end of the games when they went on the road. He was there laughing with Henry. He doesn't look unhappy. That's my point. He does not. Now, I'm not saying there's zero chance because I can see in a weird way if here the Jets or one of these teams say, here's 5 first-round picks, right? Because they have from the trades from Sauce Gardner and all this. And the Ravens really are having a hard time extending him. I'm not saying that the take or the calling has zero merits, but it took so much legs without. I think this column would have been great in the offseason. And in the offseason, we were like, who knows? It might, maybe. I don't know. But right now, like the demeanor that Lamar has, it doesn't look to me that he wants to leave. Actually, I don't think he would want to leave at the end of the year either, even if they lose, right? Because injuries throughout. I think it would be more if the question is the Ravens want to move on. I don't think they won't either because I think the fan base will kill them. And then talk about an empty stadium, Ace. Yeah, talk about that empty stadium. The Ravens will empty that thing up if they trade Lamar.
So one thing, I don't think that the columnist said Lamar was asking for a trade. He said that you
No,
guys
no, no.
should explore a possible
Yes,
trade
yes, yes, yes.
in
But they
that
took it.
circumstance. And I understand where the columnist is coming from because, as you mentioned, the last time that you guys had an issue with Lamar with the contract, he didn't show up for the playoff game, didn't fly out there, which is like you're saying, it was different this time. But it was a situation where it did get down to should we try to trade Lamar? And they tried to. And at the time, no one, like the Falcons, didn't want to send the picks and all of that. So I think they're saying, like, in this situation, and I believe the columnist in this regard, or I agree with him. I'm not going to say I believe him, but I think it is either we're keeping Harbaugh or we're keeping Lamar. I don't think
agree.
you can keep both of those two if this is a situation where, let's say the Ravens either lose this game or let's say they're one and done. I don't see Lamar coming back and playing for Harbaugh. I don't think him and Harbaugh are actually cool. I think it is kind of an act.
Look, if it is that they're not cool, then I think Harbaugh goes
you
before Lamar.
you got to get rid of one or the other, and I
Which
think it's probably Harbaugh.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm
it's
good with that.
probably Harbaugh before it's Lamar. But I think if it's a situation where Lamar is being kind of like it's hard to get a deal done with them, and we talked about this on the last show, Sonny. I'd like to hear your comments on this. I proposed a trade with the Eagles. Like if the Eagles were like, we'll send you Jalen Hurts and we'll send you some first round draft picks for Lamar Jackson, would you guys not listen to that?
Zero. I don't want.
You wouldn't listen to that?
No, because I think Jalen Hurts is. It will sound very disrespectful.
Jalen Hurts is cheaper. He's a leader of men. He's been in a
run. But I don't need a leader of men for the Baltimore Ravens because the Baltimore Ravens offense right now needs a playmaker. Right? Our offense doesn't have. Jalen Hurts has a bunch
40.
of guys.
You guys just dropped 40 with your backup at quarterback.
I got you. But that hasn't been the norm through the year. My point is, Lamar Jackson hides a lot of problems that this offense has. If the Ravens need a playmaker on that sort, Jalen Hurts is in a situation where he has a Derrick Henry-like running back in Saquon Barkley. He has two outstanding receivers, right? Really strong O-line, and still that offense seems clunky. And half of the time it's him. And the draft picks of even though they're gonna be first round, let's say it's 2 first round picks, these picks are gonna be late because with Lamar Jackson in Philadelphia, we're talking they're gonna make the playoffs and they're gonna be late picks. Versus if you're really gonna do this, if the Jets really want to send 5, and then you get, if not this year, you can draft next year a guy. Plus, with all the other ones, now you can build the offense.
This is my only issue with that, and this would be my only issue as a Ravens fan returning or getting something back. I don't know who my quarterback is, so like in that situation, like I know Jalen Hurts isn't amazing, right? But I know that bar minimum, Jalen Hurts is a good starting. Like if you put a good situation around him, you put that Ravens defense around him, you put a good running game around him, he still can make the playoffs. If you enter Kyle Bowler again, like you guys did back in the day, there's no guarantee. Like, and I get it. I understand why people are like, hey, we're gonna make these decisions and stuff like that. But looking at this draft class and knowing that it's really just Fernando, and then there's not really anybody else. I would. Me personally, I'd have to get a quarterback back that's like.
So how about this for the Ravens? And I don't think they should trade Lamar. I'll start with that. But
I'm not saying they should. I got you. In the event that they would. I would rather take Jalen Hurts than like 5 picks in an unknown quarterback in a bad year that they got a quarterback.
How about 5 picks in Kyler Murray? 5 first in Kyler Murray. I'll take that over and 2 first from the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. If you get somebody
like Kyler Murray, I think that's
Kyler Murray's gonna be out. I think Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts are not that far apart. Jalen Hurts has a better team around him. That will be my thing, and I think the picks will be worth way more from the Jets.
From the Cardinals.
From the Jets. No, the Cardinals are trying to get under Murray. I don't know how much value he will have.
I just thought if you were trading for Kyler Murray, you'd be getting the picks from them too.
No, I think you trade him to the Jets. in this scenario, trade him to the Jets, and then you work something with the Cardinals on the side for like a second round or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, we need to build this team because now you don't have Lamar Jackson. But I don't think it will happen. I think Harbaugh goes before. If it really is between Harbaugh and Lamar, which hey, sign me up for that. Question for Bishotti and company because I think Harbaugh goes.
All right. Yeah, it was a good
We have a
conversation.
couple more
I was
others.
gonna say, we have
got
a
a
few
couple other
more.
ones. So that was the Minnesota one.
Yeah,
Who we
let's
got
get
here?
Rex Fortune. This was the biggest case of Steelery and Tomlinism I've seen in a while. Even Romo was calling out Rodgers for some of his throws. I'm so goddamn tired of Tony Romo, by the way. He's got to go, man. I've had to listen to him like every play for 2 weeks now because Nance and Romo have had the Steelers for the last 2 weeks. It's 1,000 swords in my ears.
He's fine.
listening
He's
to Romo.
fine.
He used to be great. He's horrible now. He's bad. I used
By
to
the
give him
way-
the benefit of the doubt too. Like last year when people were turning on him, I thought he was still fine. This year he's been brutal. But yeah, this
Jerry,
is,
we did jump 2 Rex Fortune's super chats
wait, what?
before the Voldigard.
I only see 3 of them. So there was
Yeah, there was 2 from the last show that are still in here for whatever reason.
Oh,
So,
that's what it is.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
he had
gotcha.
2 from the last show that are still showing up in the back
Okay,
here.
gotcha.
But yeah, like I said already, like I was disappointed but not surprised because that's what the Steelers do is lose to teams that aren't good. Let's see. Vodegaard says, Jared, I don't know how you feel about Lamar, but what if the Steelers trade 2 firsts and a player?
Oh
Would you
my
accept
God.
it? And Sonny, how should you react to it?
That would never happen.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't happen in this hypothetical. I'll say this, man. Like, I feel like Lamar's a depleting asset. He's constantly hurt. He's got the immune system of a Victorian child. If the Steelers are going to rebuild, I'd rather them just rebuild.
The Tua. You already have a quarterback in Tua.
He's not. I don't know where he's going to go. It ain't going to be Pittsburgh, but his ass isn't going to be in Miami next year. I legit think that there's a good chance Malik Willis is a Steeler next year, and that's fine. If they draft a guy at some point and sign Malik Willis and have a quarterback room of Willis, whoever they draft, Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, something like that. All right, yeah, I can roll with that. But I'd be cool with Malik Willis. But yeah, Lamar, yeah, like obviously he's very good, but he's constantly hurt. And like this season especially has been so weird where there seems to be constant miscommunication with Lamar says this, the team says this, Harbaugh says this. Oh, he's a full participant in practice. Actually, he was limited. It's just so dumb, and there's just so many weird things.
What about the back injury, bro? Was the back injury that bad that he?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, could he have played against Green Bay? I feel like he could have. And look, I'm not trying to be some. I am not an athlete whatsoever. I am a writer, podcaster. Lamar Jackson could kick my ass 7 days of the week, whatever. That's great. I don't care. I feel like he probably could have played.
This is what I heard, by the way, after the the Patriots game. They're saying that some journalist that was there, they said that he was struggling to get his jersey out. Like the pain.
He looked fine on the sideline.
He looked fine on the sideline. And he did say, to be fair, that on Sunday he felt better. That probably Saturday night he was doing better.
I don't know, man. It's all weird to me. It's all weird to me. It's all very weird. I'll let go.
Get back in the playoff picture, and then
and all of a sudden it's man. I feel great. Would you look at that?
We'll see Sunday.
I'll echo what Jeff Schwartz said because he kind of said the same thing. Because Jeff Schwartz was a lineman in the NFL for a long time. He's like, look, I've had back injuries. I'm not standing on the sideline and being able to walk around all chipper with a back injury. So feels weird to me, man.
I don't know about that one, bro.
Feels weird to me. We got another one from the 188. Lamar is a depleting asset based on one season, ? Please get drug tested. Well, look, man, constantly hurt. I'm cool with it. Look, I might look stupid for saying that. Whatever.
So the other thing is, to be fair to hear the 188, Lamar this year had a lot of neck and neck injuries. He still played more than half of the year, and the past couple of years he's been fine. He does get sick of his stomach a lot. To be fair to hear, I think that's what Jared was saying.
Yeah.
He ended up pulling through usually and playing, even though he was sick. So he needs to watch his diet better. Whatever the hell is making him sick, he needs to watch his diet better. But I don't think he is. If next year he has another year that is just a bunch of little injuries, then definitely you're like, ooh, what's happening here? The past couple of years he's been fine. So I wouldn't call him that this year because of this year everything
I
is
think
going
that
downhill.
I agree with both sides of it. I think why people are saying he's a depleting asset is because you're seeing that with Lamar, if he has any injury with his legs, that he is not the same player
that's
as
the
a
thing with me.
thrower.
His
Yeah,
game doesn't age well. Like if he was more of a, I saw somebody say, well, Burrow's hurt a lot too, and that's a completely fair point. Like I'd be
yeah, that's fair.
nervous trading for Joe Burrow too, just because he's constantly hurt. But if he's able to stay healthy, he's not running around and doing all this stuff, and that's not a big part of his game. With Lamar, we're seeing if he can't run, he's not nearly the same player. So it's not his style when he's not 100%, and as he ages, I just don't think is aging well if he can't run around and be, what he was before. So it's something that I would be concerned with if I was a team trading. And that's not to say that he's not great. Obviously, he is. When he's at 100%, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. But how much longer does he have of being that quarterback is the kind of thing that I would be concerned with.
Another one from the 188.
Another one. Steelers can face themselves against the Browns. Yep, they sure did. Now we play for all the marbles on Sunday. It always comes down to beating. Oh, this is actually the first time in the history of the rivalry where it's winner take all in the final week of the season. So there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, usually he's been watching, right? Like when we beat the Browns that one year, you guys were watching in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Then was the other year that the Bengals beat us, where you guys were watching, and that made it you guys go in. Yeah, you're right. I haven't. There's no been.
That's the perfect segue, guys. We're here to talk about you guys.
Yeah.
This is a fight between you two guys.
I think Sonny and I are kind of in the same boat. We're okay with either result because hopefully if one of our teams loses, real changes happen. I think Baltimore is more likely to make real changes if they lose. I don't think the Steelers are nearly as likely to make any sort of like drastic change no matter the result. So that I don't know. If they lose, there's going to be loud calls for change. There's going to be loud calls to trade Tomlin, as there should be. There already is. But I don't know, man. I fear that no matter what happens, they'll run it back in some way, shape, or form next season. Maybe Terrell Austin isn't the defensive coordinator, but Tomlin will still be the head coach, and all roads will still lead to similar paths that they've been on in 23, 24, and 25.
For me, this game's very interesting. We talk about when we play the Steelers at Baltimore. This is obviously not Heinz Field, whatever they call it now.
Acrisure. I've grown used to it by now, but yes,
Heinz Field is so much better. But anyway,
it is.
Anyway, it took, and I have never bitched so much about calls, but that game, 3 calls that went to against Baltimore, none to the Steelers for the Steelers to win that game. DK Metcalf was going crazy in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And even Terrell Austin got a couple of deep passes. Neither of those two guys are there. No, they're near Washington. I think the Ravens need to sit in the box, allow very little run, make Rodgers beat them with whoever. I agree with you, Jared Thielen. I felt like he was open a lot in this last game against the Browns, but Rodgers wasn't looking in Thielen's way. So that's interesting, but whatever. As you saw, Baltimore has holes in the secondary that you can take advantage of, but I don't know with who right now because, again, no DK and no Austin. And not having that 6th lineman in Darnell, that I think hurts the Steelers as well on the offensive side. I don't know how the offense will play, what will be the mojo of this offense. I think the Ravens need to come and pressure Rodgers. Need to get him in his head, hit him in every play. And if you get burned a couple of times, you get burned a couple of times. This is a game that if the Steelers win is because the defense and Lamar Jackson was doing turnovers. Because remember also, even though those 3 calls that I was talking about, in that game, Lamar Jackson fumbled. Somebody else fumbled. There were so many turnovers, I can't remember. So in my humble opinion, if the Ravens play a clean game, no turnovers, I think the advantage is for the Ravens. As the Steelers are coming a little bit more shorthanded, even though it's in Pittsburgh. I'm not trying to be cocky here because obviously it's hard to win in Pittsburgh on a Sunday night. If the Ravens lose, I'll be pissed. Different from you, Jared. Now because it's in front of me, I want them to win. I want them to go to the playoffs.
Sure.
But if they lose and they fire Harbaugh next year, that's a consolidation price that I have. Let's put it like that. In my head, Analysis wise, that's what I'm thinking. I think they need to give the ball to Henry. Lamar needs to, if he's gonna play, he needs to run. I said this after week 1. By week 4, when we went to the 0-3 run there, like we won the first one, then we lost 3. That we stopped doing misdirection runs, right? The read option stopped. But Huntley, it came back. And look at that. Henry's been running all over it. So if my guy here is coming back, Lamar Jackson, he needs to do misdirection. If you can't do it because you're still hurt in your back, then you can't. Then because I think that's the way you're gonna exploit the Steelers. Because if not, no way Fahalele is gonna hold on then Harmon and all that pass rush that is coming from the Steelers side. So you need to run, you need to misdirect, you need to get them confused on that D line and PQ, because PQ will chase whatever. PQ, if you right now, I think if you, even with misdirection, because they tried to do a couple of read options against the Steelers, and usually T.A. Watt and company will just wait for a moment. Now they were crashing on Derrick Henry because Lamar's not keeping it. Well, Lamar, you have to keep it, because if you keep it like 4 or 5 times in a row and you burn them for 6, 7, 8, you have to go for a home run. You know what's gonna happen? Now they're gonna stop, and now Derrick Henry will go, and then PQ will always crash there. Okay, that's on that side, and then on defense, like I said, they need to hit him a lot. On the case of Rodgers, get him confused, get him, because get Rodgers savvy, right? You need to pocket. The problem is it will have to come with blitz, because as I said before, we don't have the personnel to just rush 4 and 5 and just produce pressure. That being said, like I said, I think the Ravens come up, win. And what I was gonna say is, in my mind, I'm here hoping Denver takes the first seed, the Patriots take the second seed, because in my mind, I'm putting my little Cinderella story as the Ravens, instead of the Colts, play the Texans. If somehow we can beat them, this is 2012 again. We went to the Broncos as the number 1 seed, the Broncos, and then New England. Hey, maybe this is the year. Maybe it had to be this way. Maybe. I don't know. But what I do know is, if the team comes flat and does some BS, then I think Harbaugh goes.
Yeah, they have to. The Steelers are going to rely on splash plays and whatnot defensively to kind of carry them here. I don't expect the offense to have any sort of massive production. I expect more than 6 points, but I don't expect the offense to be nearly as explosive without Metcalf on the field. The one thing that they do have going for them is that Lamar doesn't play well in Pittsburgh. He's got 1 win in Pittsburgh, and that came back in 2019 against the combination of Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. He threw 3 interceptions in that game, and it came down to overtime and a Juju Smith-Schuster fumble for them to win it. So traditionally, the Steelers play Lamar very well at home. So they've got historically that on their side, if that's a trend that continues. And offensively for Baltimore, and I talked about this a lot this week. I was on Sirius XM the other day, and they, we're talking about this, and I think that with Snoop on the field, they have a little bit more of like a known identity, where it's like, okay, we're just going to hand the ball to Derrick Henry and just hammer the ball, just hammer, and that's what it's going to be. When Lamar's on the field, they try to do a lot of different things, because obviously it's Lamar and he's better than Snoop. But that formula of, all right, we're just going to give the ball to Derrick Henry 35 times worked really well against Green Bay. Could it work similarly against Pittsburgh? I don't know. Like, the run defense has been pretty stout over the last 6 weeks. And so they would probably need some big plays in the passing game to help elevate them. So it's very much a toss up for me, just because the Steelers usually show up for these kinds of games. They play Baltimore well at home. If I had to lean one way or the other, I'd probably, just err on the side of being, a Steelers guy and say Pittsburgh. But again, if they lose, which is certainly possible that they do, Baltimore's favored in this game. I think the opening line was 3.5. I don't know if it's moved or not. If they lose, you got to make some sort of full sale change, man.
I'm sorry. I was saying, Gary, that's kind of crazy. It should have been Steelers -3. Basically, the 3 points that are at home.
So. If anything, it should have been a pick 'em. No, if anything, it should have been a pick 'em.
Okay, that's fine. Pick 'em too, right? Whatever. Yeah. Half a point either way. So there's no push protection. But I was like, damn, we're at 3.5. 3.5.
Jared, you're not the only person that I've heard that from, because I've heard some people saying that they wanted Lamar back in this game because he's been playing with the limitations and stuff like that. He can't run like Huntley can at full speed.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like Snoop's played well, all things considered.
And I kind of brought it up on the last show. Like, this Ravens team hadn't dropped 40 in like a couple months, and then when they just played with Huntley, is a 40 piece. But I think it's going to be an interesting game. I lean a little Ravens. Like, if the Steelers had DK, I'd be picking the Steelers right now. And if they didn't have that loss to the Browns, I lean that way. But I do feel like if Lamar plays, that could play somewhat into the Steelers' hand. Is TJ Watt playing in this game?
Don't know. He's been limited these last 2 days at practice. So
I know that's a lung. So I know that that's
still pretty up in the air.
And I mean, they played amazing without him, especially defensively in some of these aspects. But
which may or may not show that they didn't.
Nah. Ravens fans hate me too much. I'm going Steelers. I'm going Steelers on this one. Let's see the Steelers try to pull this one out. Aaron Rodgers. I'm not gonna say it's a legacy game because Aaron Rodgers is Aaron.
Does he retire if they lose?
I don't know, man. The way the comments he's made over the past few days sounds like he's coming back for another year.
He sounds like he's coming back.
Oh, he's a free agent because it's only a 1-year deal, but like I'm sure the Steelers would.
We're doing the Matrix thing. He wanted to go to Minnesota.
Oh, maybe that's something that could be kind of looked at.
Minnesota would have loved for him.
What don't the Steelers have some crazy Sunday night football streak they have going on?
Not so much Sunday night football. They used to have a really big Sunday night football streak. It was Monday night football.
Monday night football. Yeah,
they haven't lost.
I remember you brought it up. Okay,
yeah, they haven't lost now 23 straight Monday night home games. So
this is going to be a good game, even though the division's been really bad this season. This is, I think, a fitting in to what has been this train wreck of a division. Is these two teams playing at the end of the season to decide who wins the division and who goes to the playoffs. And I think it's finally given what the NFL schedule makers were trying to do with having these divisional games be week 18. And usually, generally, like, these games don't mean anything. But since the division has been as crazy as it has been, they're finally getting what they've kind of planned out with putting these games at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
I just really wish it wasn't the Sunday night game.
I know.
I hate it. I hate it so much. They had a golden opportunity to make 49ers Seahawks the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Two better teams for the 1 seed in the NFC. That would have made so much more sense.
That's Saturday, right? Saturday
that's
something.
A Saturday game. No, that's a Saturday night game. The 4:00 game on Saturday is Bucks Panthers.
Okay. Oh, that's horrible.
I could have had all my work done by like 6, 7 o'clock. Now I'm gonna have to be up till 1:30 in the morning writing about this game that's probably not gonna be great. It's gonna suck. I know I sound like
what's the point total on this one?
Oh, that's a good question. By the way, I know I'm like, it's like half jokingly complaining. I'm certainly not complaining about being able to, write about my favorite team, but goddamn, it's so late. All right, Rex Fortune. I'm waiting for the Steelers to cut Roman Wilson since they haven't used him in a while and sign Alan Lazard. He's going to get traded in the offseason, man. 0% chance he's a Steeler next year. They're going to sign him.
Who would trade for him? Maybe.
This isn't George Pickens.
I'm not saying they're going to get something. It'll be like a 2027 day 3 pick that they'll get from like the Raiders or the 49ers or someone. Yeah.
What do you got for him, Sonny? You got a 7th? You got a 7th for him?
I have a 7 in the year 2100 maybe.
You have to give them Roman Wilson and a draft pick.
It would have to be something. You're right. I'm sorry. That's a decent point.
Roman Wilson, and we swap 7s.
Because like Malachi Corley was drafted higher than Roman was, and he just got outright cut by the Jets. So maybe he probably just gets cut. That's a decent shout.
It's a cut.
Over under for this game's 41.5.
Ooh.
I'm taking the under very.
I'd take the under on that one. Yeah.
I don't know, because I think this is a game 24-20 Ravens. That's what I'm going with.
Oh, I think
this is 18-15.
Yeah,
18-15.
I'm saying like 19-16, 16-13,
That's nasty,
somewhere
Ace.
in
That's
there.
nasty work right there.
Bro, it is gonna be a bloodbath out there, bro.
It is. I got you.
It's gonna be
It's-
an old fashioned year 2004 like Baltimore
I'm
Ravens.
hoping the refs
Pittsburgh.
don't.
It's going to
let
be
them
a lot of running. Neither of these teams have great passing attacks. DK's not playing. This will be a low scoring game. That's the easiest bet for me of the week is hitting the under on this.
Okay.
I'm
There it is.
I'm gonna have to throw a decent amount of. It's minus 115 for the under, so I might have to go like alt under like 38.5 or 39.5 just to make anything
In
worth it.
the side B game in the AFC North is the Bengals and the Browns. Look, not much to say about this
Ace,
one.
tell them what I was telling you. Who? What is the incentive here? Who's gonna lose?
So the incentive is for the Browns, they want Miles to get the sack record, right?
Yep.
But
after that, they don't care.
I said about a month ago on this show, when you're playing this game where you want to get a top pick, you have to lose games. They won last week. Now they're picking 6, and this is a team that needs a quarterback. You're out of the Francisco sweepstakes. You're costing yourself a lot because just think about how much it is to trade up from the number 2 pick to the number 1 pick. You're sitting at number 6 right now. I think that they're going to want to lose this game, but you got Shador at quarterback who doesn't want to get replaced as a quarterback, so he's going to try to win this game. You got Joe Burrow and Zach. For some reason, they're like Zach Taylor's trying to save his job, winning these pointless games, which we see that the Bengals do this every time. Once they're mathematically eliminated, then they just become the best team in football.
What is your position currently for draft?
Us for the draft, I believe we're 10th. I think we're drafting.
That's pretty solid.
Right
Still
now.
top 10.
So that's why I was watching Ruben Bain last night. But yeah, bro, this game doesn't matter. This isn't the Battle of Ohio. This is the Battle of Mid right now. This is the Battle of Mid. They're trying to get Miles to get the sack record. We're just trying to get a pointless win to save Zach's job and put some stats up there. So, I think it's going to be a situation. I do think that as much as I would hate for it to be against the Bengals in history, I think Miles is going to get it against us because they asked Joe Burrow about it, and he's like, I'm not going out of my way to give him a sack, and I'm not going out of my way to stop him from getting a sack either. And so if you've watched Myles Garrett against this team traditionally, historically, you know that he has a really good chance of getting a sack against the Bengals. And we're going to throw it. We're going to throw it no matter what. So that's going to give him all of the opportunities in the world to get it. So, yeah, it's not a good season. I'm just hoping that the Bengals don't drop down to like 14th or anything in the draft. Like, I would want to lose this game. I don't care that it's Cleveland. Like, we already beat them early in the season. So if you're saying we split and I get the 8th or 9th pick in the draft, sign me up for that. For Cleveland, though, if Cleveland wins this game, I think they will probably, for the most part, be cemented at like 6 if they win this game, because there's a little bit of, I think, a gap between them and the next amount of wins. So for Cleveland, I don't know what they're going to do with the record that they have now. Like, I know it probably felt good a little bit to beat the Steelers, but then when you're sitting here in April, you're probably looking at yourself like, was it worth that situation? And that's what I always tell people is you never want to be in that situation where you're right outside of the top 5, right outside of the top 3. Like, those picks are pretty valuable and they end up being really good players, especially in a year where the quarterback class is weak. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do this offseason with that. For us, obviously, we're looking for a blue chip defensive player. So if that's Caleb Downs, if that's Ruben Bain, hopefully.
The Shamar? Another Shamar?
Another Shamar? No, I hate Shamar Stewart. No. But I would take Bain. I don't know if you guys watched last. Bain was going crazy last night.
Is he outside rushing?
So he's really supposed to project as a 3 tech in the NFL. They play him at edge out there, but he's an undersized guy. He's like 6'3", 280. But he literally wrecked that Ohio State game last night by himself. So wouldn't mind him, wouldn't mind any of those defenders there. So I think for the Bengals, I think we'll be good. The Browns is going to be interesting because once Francisco is out of there, there's a lot of more defensive players. There's a tackle. But if I'm them, I'm trying to get a quarterback. So I don't know what that means for them in terms of the ramifications for this game, because now they're in a weird spot with them being where they're at right now in the draft order. So it'll be interesting, and they could potentially fall to 7th maybe, but we'll see what happens.
Do you see that dumbass Browns fan on Twitter talking about like comparing Shador's struggle to like the plight of slavery? I was like, Jesus Christ, man, what are we doing?
Oh my God.
Oh, you know what? I think we need another pandemic, but for morons like that. How about just one more pandy wandy for people who with that way of thinking, that and like people who stream video games that are like made up celebrities. I'll throw my I think that's fine.
We have a couple super chats here.
Still a couple more super chats. Yeah, let's dive into these real quick if we can. The 188 says it's the Ohio Toilet Bowl, and yeah,
it is,
really
bro.
is.
I mean, they both are not good teams this season. Like, it is what it is. So, I mean, I don't know how. I'll probably be watching the game, which I have been doing the last couple of weeks, just looking at, future cornerstones that should be on this defense and on this team, and guys that they should move away from. So, we'll see.
And the 188 says, Ace, what makes you think this front office can build a real defense? Yeah, I mean, if Duke Tobin's gone.
For me, so like one thing that we didn't talk about, Joe Burrow came out and said changes have to happen. So something has to change here. You cannot come back with the same defense. I understand, and I agree with Joe Goodberry. He put a tweet out there, I think, that said something like they're not going to overhaul and have a completely new defense next year. Like, you might still keep about 5 or 6 of these guys, but they need to definitely do something, bro. They have to. Geno Stone has got to be gone. They got to do something at the linebacker spot. They've got to get – I mean, I've been asking for a 3-tech, I feel like, ever since Larry Ogunjobi has been gone from this team. They got to do something about that 3-tech position as well. If Caleb Downs is there, that's a good start. That would be a good start, adding him to that defense. So I'm not sure that they can build a real defense, but I don't think that they have a choice to at least try. Like, are they going to do it? I don't know, but they're going to have to show that they're doing something with that defense this offseason.
Yeah. Let's see. Nova says Jared's take on Lamar Jackson will age like Tom Brady cliff take. Maybe. I mean, look, I'm not immune to being wrong. I've been wrong.
Have been here.
Been wrong before. I certainly will be again. I can own when I'm incorrect about things. That's fine. Look, I very well could be wrong, but it just feels like I think we've certainly seen the peak of Lamar. I don't think he's ever going to be better than what he's already been.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. Definitely in your Reddit. We'll see next year. Definitely next year for the Ravens will be interesting because I think they can't come with a lot of hype, and obviously they did not meet those expectations throughout the year. So definitely a very interesting year in the upcoming offseason.
Yeah. I mean, the offseason's always, like, especially, the beginning of free agency and whatnot in the new league year is always fun. But once we get into like
not for the
May, once we get into like May, I'm just itching for it to be back. So
yeah,
don't take these Sundays for granted. We've only got, a handful of them left before we are, without it for months at a time. So, yeah, we'll see what Sunday brings, who's going to be representing the division in the postseason, and we'll be back next week to recap it. Ace, what do you got coming on your podcast other than this one that everybody needs to check out?
Yeah, definitely make sure that you guys hop over and check out the Cincinnati podcast. Me and them got some stuff going over there. You can follow me on Twitter for interesting takes on Zach Taylor. Sometimes I do stuff on Bleacher Report, so definitely holler at me over there for sure. One big thing that I'm making a push for now is Willie Anderson just was also named, I think, a finalist. I think this might be the 4th year in a row. Hoping that he gets in there. A good friend of mine, even greater as a person, a Hall of Famer as a player and as a person. Willie Anderson is a humble guy, gives back to the community all the time, is always pushing the young kids to play offensive line. So, in my opinion, Willie Anderson was the best right tackle, hands down, out of the 2000s. He should have been in there a while ago. I'm not sure why. I think it's because he's a Bengal and he played for some of those bad 90s teams that he's not in there. But this guy gave up 15 sacks, bro, in a 13-year career. Like, he was insane. Even when he played for the Ravens, that was the first year PFF was in existence, had the highest grade of any lineman in PFF history, I believe, that year. His last year with Baltimore Ravens. So hoping that Willie Anderson gets in there.
Ken Anderson should also be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe
Ken as well. Ken is actually eligible as well.
That's
believe
good.
So
yeah, and Ken's the best. Absolutely love Ken. Yeah, it'd be cool to see Willie Anderson get in. There's been a lot of talk on Steelers Twitter about Hines Ward not getting in. My unpopular take is like he's a great Steeler. He's a Hall of Good. I'm perfectly fine with Hines Ward.
Hall of Good. That's great. Yeah.
He's not Torrey Holt. He's not Reggie Wayne. He's not Larry Fitzgerald. All three of those guys should probably get in before he does.
I'm sorry. I think Steve Smith was better than him too.
Steve Smith is more talented. Yeah. So like. I love Hines Ward. Every Steelers fan loves Hines Ward. I'm not like butthurt about him not being a Hall of Famer. I don't think that he was never like the best at his position. I'm not shitting on Hines or anything. I'm sure a lot of Steelers fans will hate that, but yeah, I'm okay with the other guy. I think Torrey Holt should have been in a long time ago. I hope that he gets in this year. So we'll see what that brings. For me, me and Todd Haley on Believe in Steelers. It's BLEAV. We will be recording tonight. And that episode will either hit your podcast feed either tonight or tomorrow morning, previewing Steelers and Ravens. So that'll be on Believe in Steelers. Sonny, where can the folks follow you on Twitter?
SCU Sport, but I'll be traveling, my guys. I've been in Puerto Rico. I'll be traveling, but I'll be back in the next show, back in the studio over there in my house. So, hey, hopefully I'm celebrating.
Yeah, we'll have
either way. Either if we lose, if Harbaugh's gone, I'll be celebrating. But hopefully we go into the playoffs.
Yeah, obviously Q will be back with us next week, so check out everything that he's doing on his channel as well. And then tune in next week for AFC North Talk as we break down whatever happens on Sunday. I'm sure that regardless, it'll be noteworthy, and we'll all have our respective takes. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week here on AFC North Talk. Take care.